freaking talent.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, you guys, we are officially live. Okay. So this is Deron Slater from Stand For and also the state director of Blexit. But you guys, I am representing today and going live on behalf of Stand For and then also for conservatism. Okay. You guys, I have my good friend, my brother, Dag. Okay. He has his own talk show as well. Hey,
Dag, where you go? Hold on. There I am. Sorry.
There we go.
I accidentally screen.
Okay, and you guys, he has his own talk show as well too, the Dag Show. Now, Dag knows, and also Diane too. His a wonderful girlfriend. She's amazing. You guys, they are conservatives. You guys, I just called Dag, and I'm just like, hey, Dag, jump on this live feed with me, man, because you guys, let me just tell you something, okay? I just got off this one unprofessional, most excruciating interview I have ever been asked to do. And you guys, the thing is that Dag and I, we both exemplify facts, right? We like to talk about facts. And Correct. If you don't know your facts, you need to shut your mouth, period. Yes. Or you will be eviscerated. You will look like a fool if you do not know your facts, especially when it comes to debating. Okay. And so Dag, he came on, you guys, it was just abruptly. Okay. And he was just like, yeah, I'll come on and we can definitely just have this talk. You guys, Dag is extremely conservative. He's outside of the Chicago area. And this is just one of my brothers who I just love truly. And he's with Stand For as well, too, because Stand For, we just look, if you love your country, you're definitely the material for Stand For. But you guys, let's just jump into the meat and potatoes. I think that was a good introduction. But I'm going to say one more time before we jump into the meat and potatoes that Dag has his own show, and it's called The Dag Show. So you guys, he likes to post it on my wall, and I like to hit the accept. And so it posts on my wall when him and Dag go live. Okay, Dag, let's jump into this meat and potatoes. Why is it so important to know your facts, man?
Well, I mean, it's really. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Thanks for reaching out to me. This is actually a welcome break because we have been all afternoon working on the big Stand For event that's going to be in Chicago here that the Dag Show and myself and Di are producing. So this is a welcome break. So thanks for having me on, and thanks to your listeners for paying any attention to me. Anyway, facts are important because facts don't care about your feelings. And at the end of the day, you can, all the rhetoric in the whole world and all your belief system, no matter how strong you want to believe something, if it goes against the facts, you have to rethink your belief system. It doesn't mean that your ideology and your caring about a certain topic is wrong. It just means it doesn't align with the truth and how to get things done. You know, it's kind of I'll give you a perfect example. As a businessman, we talk about numbers, and we were talking about the numbers for the Stand For event. And this is a very expensive event to put on. The numbers all have to line up. So as we're sitting here talking, going over things, certain things I can say yes to and certain things I have to say no to. You know why? Because no matter how bad I want them, if the numbers do not match and allow us to go there and not lose money, you can't do it. It doesn't matter. You have to cut the corners of that budget or of those ideas somewhere. And that is exactly the same thing when it comes to talking about these social issues and social programs and the problems we have in this country. When things, no matter how much sense they make to you, if they're not viable and they're not doable, you have to sit back and re-question if what you're doing is correct. Now, let me give you a perfect example. Everybody's talking about the United States Postal Service and this $25 billion that the Democrats want to give that we know is never going to pass the Senate. And Trump said he's going to veto anyway. Why? Because the United States Postal Service has $120 billion shortfall in their pension funds. Do you know why? Because we have been, for 15 years, $18 billion a year to the tune of bailing out the post office as American citizens. Now, let's just do a little math with this. Let me take you guys to school here, because everything equates. The numbers never lie. Unless you put them together wrong, they don't lie. But we give, as American citizens, $18 billion of our tax money every year to the United States Postal Service, which over the last 14 years has lost $78 billion. Okay, $78 billion. I'm going to give you some perspective on that in just a minute. But so the post office doesn't care. When they want to go ahead and fund a pension, the powers that be in the United States Postal Service go, doesn't matter. Federal government is going to take American tax dollars and just bail us out. So let me break this down a little further. When the economy was doing good before COVID hit, we had 151 million working people in this country, the most we've ever had at one time. If you were to divide that $18 billion out of every single year, every single one of us contributes $119 to the United States Postal Service before we ever buy a stamp, send a letter, or a package. We have done that consistently for almost 15 years and watched them lose every bit of it. Might as well, the best way to deal with the post office is to give them a tip jar and say, hey, if I want to give you money, I will. When you can show me that you can manage the money we're giving you, the 18 billion, then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about maybe helping fund you. But here's what else has been happening. Of that 78 billion, the way that breaks down is about $2 to $4 billion every single quarter for 14 years is lost. It evaporates. So what does the left do? They run out, take pictures of trucks pulling out mailboxes. Stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Trump is not taking out mailboxes. This is where facts come in. Those pictures of the trucks we all saw on the internet is the company that refurbishes the mailboxes. They take them, they sand them down, and I'll tell you how I know this, because there's another great conservative in Chicago here who has a big team who's on radio, went out and did all the homework and found the company and the owners. They said, no, we take the mailboxes out periodically. We load them on a truck, we sandblast them, we repaint them and put new stickers on them, we put them back. Those pictures of those trucks that all the Democrats are saying are as Trump stealing them goes, it was our company. It was the owner's company. So facts don't care about your feelings. And we can, it's to a point where when somebody posts things, even a conservative, I very rarely believe it anymore online. And I have to, if it interests me enough, I have to do a whole bunch of homework, because if it sounds good on the surface, we want to get behind it. I mean, all of us do, Republicans or Democrats, or liberals or whatever. That doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean all the facts that are being talked about are real. It doesn't mean that it's viable. So back to the post office real quick. When you're talking about the post office, what people aren't discussing is the fact that there was no financial viability for the United States Post Office to put together a pension program that could be funded properly. They just did it, knowing that it was going to happen, that they would get their money anyway. And here's what's happening. President Trump says, I'm not throwing any more good money after bad. So the facts you're being told about the post office are incorrect. The memes you're seeing on the post office are lies. The memes, the statements people are making about the post office are completely non-substantive and are completely 100%, 90% of them untrue. They're just not close to the truth.
Right. So Dag, so Most Epic. I love what Most Epic just put in text. Can you see that on the side? Most Epic put on text. He says, in the realm of reality, there are subjective truths and objective truths, right? Physics, biology, calculus, chemistry, and mathematics are objective truths. Opinion is subjective. Boom. Spot on, right?
Right.
See, a conservative understands that. That's what we subscribe to, okay? Then I like what Most Epic put at the bottom too. The extreme left are a bunch of clowns. See, I like the emphasis on that too, right? The extreme left are a bunch of clowns. It seems they deliberately are trying to create an unhealthy discourse. Boom. Exactly. And you know what? So Most Epic, kudos to you. I commend you on that, because Dag, he just got to the gist of basically to where we're going to. With the left, there's no truth. How in the hell can we reason with people who do not have a grasp on reality? How do we bring them into reality? Just like you just said with the post office. Okay, people have these pensions, right? These pensions aren't backed by anything. They only rely on the federal government, right? The taxpayer. How come? Okay, Dag, hold on. So how come these pensions aren't backed off of investments? Okay.
Well, the pension programs generally are backed off of some investments. The problem is the investments are terrible. And when whoever's running these investments that support the pensions, in whatever's being invested in, because we don't know. They won't tell us. Listen, in my pension, I know exactly what my money's being invested in.
Wait. You were a federal government. I mean, you were a federal worker?
No, because I have to pay for it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So the American people are paying for these pensions. Nobody's telling us what that money's supposedly being invested in. And if the investments were happening and
it's going to Fort Knox, you know that, the gold.
Well, yeah, it's evaporating in the thin air is what that's happening to the money. I mean, so the American people are being required to fund these ridiculous decisions with no oversight by the very people funding it. When I put my 401k together, I get to decide how that money's invested because it's my money. But the federal government is doing the exact same thing with my money, except not giving me any say. I don't want money to fund. The United States Postal Service is supposed to be, it is designed 100% to be self-sufficient. And it hasn't been self-sufficient in almost 2 decades. It's losing money, and it's hemorrhaging money. Let me give you or your fans a little perspective on money, and I use this all the time. Because we talk about money in the media, and you listen to these pretty talking heads on the news talk about $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, like it's nothing. That we talk about it like it's $50. It's preposterous. But let's relate money to time. Okay, and let's keep in our mind, there's $120 billion shortfall alone. Forget the other money that the post office loses all year. Just in their pension funds, $120 billion. If you were to pay $1 per second on a $1 billion shortfall, to fix a $1 billion shortfall, it would take, you wait for it, 35 years. So you can just pull out your phone and ask Siri, hey, Siri, what is 35 years times 120? And you're going to get your answer. Di, do you want to do that math real quick on your calculator?
Is Di there with you, Dag?
She is. She's sitting on the other side of the island.
How come she's not? How come she's tell her to jump on?
D-Ron says, get in here. Join us.
All right.
So here she comes. So just do that math and really get your head around that. Now, a billion seconds equated, let's equate that, or 1 million seconds equated to money is about 35, 36 days. A billion seconds is 35 days, and 1 trillion seconds is 35,000 years. So if you equate that to the money, hello, Di. Say hello to Duran.
Hi, Duran.
Hey, Di.
So
I'm getting texts at the same time. Go ahead.
When we try and talk about money, it's very important that we have a good understanding of how catastrophic $120 billion shortcoming is to a pension fund that we have been funding that has been failing consistently for 15 years. That is a complete, and then when you see it blow up all over the internet and you hear people talk about it, completely factless, they don't even know what they're talking about. That's where the divide gets bigger, because those people so badly want to believe their truths that are substantiated and exist, have no foundation of fact whatsoever, that we are dividing ourselves. Politicians are no longer dividing us. Our unwillingness to compromise and to listen and to understand. And I am going to say, because I do a show constantly where I invite liberals and Democrats on, I show them facts, I give them facts, I put them on the screen, and they denounce them as if they don't exist. It's ridiculous. So if you're unwilling to listen, people on the left, then don't even get involved in the conversation, because what you're bringing to the table is just an argument. You can't solve problems by just wanting to be argumentative. I'm coming with facts. You know, if I went to your house and you said, well, I can't pay my bills, and I looked at your budget and I said, well, you take in $4,000, you have $6,000 in bills. You got to stop spending money. That's a fact. You can argue with me all you want, but you're spending $2,000 a month more than you're taking in. Period. It doesn't matter what your reasons are. It doesn't matter that your kid needs diapers. It doesn't matter that your electric bill is high. The fact is, you're not taking in enough money to cover the cost of your living. So you need to make adjustment there. Doesn't matter how much you hate me for the answer. I don't really care. It just means you're not paying attention. If you even pose a slight little argument with me, there should only be one answer when I tell you that, when I give you my response to your problem of that nature is, oh, I got to make some adjustments. I'm doing something wrong here. I need to look closer at my spending. I got to look closer at the facts of my life. I thought I was I got money in my checking account, so I must have money. That's not how it works. I got a belief in this idea, so it must be true. That's not how it works. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. And you know what, Dag? So you know what? Okay, so that's the tip of the iceberg, right? So let's go back to 1913, right? Now, remember, in 1913, no Americans were paying taxes,
Correct.
right? Why were they not paying taxes? Because our exports, there were tariffs, okay, that funded the government and also the federal government. Americans went home with 100% of their wages, right? That's because America wasn't sold out to the bankers.
Right.
So this is what I'm talking about. Facts. When you deviate from facts, you get the alternative, which is a lie. You cannot build something that is a solid foundation that is predicated upon a lie. So this is why I always focus on fundamentals. Let's get to the fundamental truths. Look, here's the thing. This is going to be the epitome of what I'm talking about. Okay, just to summarize it. Today, they are teaching in our schools, blacks cannot be racist.
Right. Which is the most ridiculous thing ever.
What are they saying? How are they saying it?
They're literally saying
They
black people can't be racist.
Or are you saying
so, and that's the thing. So blacks can't be racist. And due to the fact that you are white, you have white privilege. Even if you grew up poor, you still have white privilege, okay? And here's the thing. We all know that's bull crap. We know that's bull crap. We know that majority of whites aren't billionaires. They're not millionaires. We know that majority of whites have to work hard like the rest of everyday Americans. Dag and Dan, this is the problem with America. We have a group on the left that doesn't want to deal with facts, but they want to deal with exploitation. They want to exploit you in all means, okay? All aspects, okay? Period. If they can take advantage of you, they would do it and they will profit from it. Racism is profitable in today's culture, and it's freaking sad because we have the unraveling of common sense. We're losing, or we have the slow erosion of critical thinking skills that adds. Now, we know that racism, okay, it definitely metastasizes, or the perfect environment for racism to thrive is ignorance. So if you're dumbing down the masses, you're making people have emotional appeals, and they get rid of logic, they get rid of facts, racism is going to thrive. This is the reason why we have white privilege. We have white guilt, and it's targeted only towards whites. Here's the thing. So how come they can't say if white privilege, white guilt exists, then you should have black guilt? You should have black privilege. You should have Asian privilege. You should have this and that. But the thing is, though, my point is this. It's fallacious. It's stupid. You cannot get anything intelligent. You can't get anything that's going to be intuitive or productive from something that's completely counterintuitive, counterproductive. We have to get back to the truth.
Listen, the foundation of all the issues that we have, and the way that, my shows kind of breaks things down into very simple terms. Your house has a foundation, and you can make your house whatever you want it to be. You put as many windows in, as many doors, and you make it as tall as you want. You can make it beautiful. You can landscape it, but the foundation for which that building stands is solid, and it has to be solid. It gets poured, and then it has to cure. And it has to pass a test where they test a little core to make sure that foundation is strong, and then you can build things on it. But when you start you can put the framework on it, right? When they tear a house down, They don't start from the foundation. They tear it down from the highest point of that house down.
Well,
And
just bulldoze it right over. Who cares?
and that's how you need to look at the issues when you're concerned. You go, well, wow, I wound up here on the roof, and I believe that there's white privilege and black people can't be racist. Well, I need to cut through that and get back down to the foundation of where those ideas started before. And in that, doing that is where the facts lie. The truth will always lie in how the ideology was created or built. Once you start tearing it down, it's in business. It's called when you're looking at numbers, it's reverse engineering. You know, I want to make this much. This is what the product costs. I want to make this much, and then you reverse engineer it to find out how you get to this number over here, and achieve your goals. Then you can set goals around it. You can't just go, well, I'm going to build a house, and then the concrete guy shows up, the siding guy up on the same day.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. It takes time, and you have to go through it. And you know, again, the sad thing here is now for me is people have become so emotional and so filled with hate towards the president that when their cup spilleth over, it spills onto their neighbors. That hatred and that resentment spills onto their neighbors if their neighbors have a differing view or have a Trump sign or a Biden sign in their yard. And that anger and that hatred builds such contempt that you stop talking. And
You can no longer agree to disagree with anything anymore.
correct. You can't. And you can't, all of a sudden, the important things in the middle, like respect and love and understanding, they vanish. And now you're just left with hate and anger. And there's the divide. You know, if we spent a little more time, you know, reading and backing up the things we say, and listen, you're talking to a guy who's been called out more times in 5 years for being wrong, and had to come back with my tail between my legs and go, oh boy, was I wrong on that. I completely misinterpreted what I read. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take some onus in our mistakes. I can't find any liberals or Democrats willing to take any onus in their mistakes. They won't own a damn thing about the baloney and the lies that they're propagating out there and pushing to their constituency. It's disgusting.
You know,
Is
we
it so?
have
No, go ahead, Di.
hatred in our homes. We've got hatred at work, on the streets. Now I'm seeing as a mom of young kids, hatred in the school systems. The media is biased. There's hate there. It's so hard to get away from it all. How do you combat all of that hate? I mean, you know, if I hear it as a mom from anybody, any kid that comes through this door, or if I'm out and about, I kibosh it. You know what I mean? On my level. But when you're talking about politicians and media, and even like we were saying, the schools are indoctrinating the kids. How do you get to that level of kiboshing it? It's just
it's so
out of
big.
control.
It's become bigger than us as a society. And the only way to win is to continue to fight and chip away at it. Because the upside here is that the young people right now that are being fed this nonsense by the media and politicians who have completely changed their course and their ideology that they've supported over the years, just to pander to you know, their base. Those people are going to get older, and they're going to own homes one day and be paying taxes, and they're going to start to learn, like my children did as they grew up, that wow, I'm paying a lot of money in taxes for not a lot of return. Oh wait, my taxes are becoming more expensive than the appreciation on my home. What's going on? And you're forced at some point to start asking questions, and that's called growing up. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. We've got you know, 50 days or whatever, 45 days to save America from this insanity. And hopefully we're going to do this. And I believe we are. And in fact, that's what the event is called, 30 Days to Save America, that I'm putting on for Stand For, and to make sure that we're getting, you know, people to be voting in the right direction for the right man. But you know, we don't have the kind of time for these kids to grow up now. So we have to keep, all of us the conservatives, and there's a lot less of us conservative talk shows than there are liberal and democratic. I mean, far less. We can't get syndicated the same way that you can in as a liberal talk show. I mean, you come to Chicago, just about every channel is liberal. The only thing you got that's conservative really is WLS, but you got 20 other channels around it on the radio that are all liberal. So you're really, the indoctrination is not just with kids. It's constant pounding these liberal and ridiculous ideologies, because you can say anything.
Yeah, but whose minds can you mold the best
Right.
as a child,
Well,
right? I mean, that's our future. We're going to have a World War III right here. Or not a world war. We're going to have an American war right here. What's going on with all the
A civil war, you mean?
Okay.
Civil War too. But you know what? You guys, I call it digital. Okay. So this
Yep.
warfare is more digital right now. Okay. So, Orwellianism. But the thing is, though, you guys, to answer Diane's question, she said, so, what's the solution to all this? Look, it's going to take, hold on. So before I get into that, I like Most Epic. Listen to what Most Epic put in text. The Democrats argue seemingly on issues that's not in their experience. For sure, they shall remain in conflict with the opposite parties. There is no solution for their thought process. Wow. Then listen to this one. Acting like they are fighting for social justice, yet the division gets bigger and complicated by doing so. Telling the truth has a price. Not many are willing to pay the price, sadly. Spot on. And so let me just tell you guys this. The solution is radical. There's going to have to be a radical solution. And that's why you get stand for. We're radicals. Okay? Look, you guys, this is not a new issue. Fighting against this party, fighting against these people with this ideology is not new. Okay? They have been around for centuries. It's just the thing is now, you guys, we have social media. Okay? Everything is accessible. You can share the news. You can look, let me just tell you something. What I love about our society today is that it's hard for you to get away with a crime, right? It is. I mean, everything is surveillanced. It's easy for you to share everything. So the truth is easier to come upon. And this is the thing where intellectually I'm vexed, because I'm just like, hold on, there's so much damn truth out there. How you still I gotta watch my language. Hold on. How are you still a nitwit? How can you not think for yourself? How can you not get down to the truth? And you have the internet where you can find the truth. And I'm going to tell you what, Dag and Diane, a lot of people, they love their ignorance. A lot of people love their victimization. A lot of people love their self-induced oppression. A lot of people love blaming other people. They don't want to take accountability for their actions. That's the problem. That's the problem. And look, here's the thing. It's not the liberals that are the problem. It's not the media that's the problem, because when you get down to the crux of it, the problem is people don't want to deal with accountability. People don't want to do things on their own. If people focused on accountability and they took responsibility for themselves and they'd be like, you know what? I don't believe you. I'm going to do my own research. Don't you know that CNN wouldn't even exist?
Well, they
wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't. We live in a society now today where people get all their information about all of their life in little snippets and tiny little clips, whether it's your grocery shopping app.
From TikTok and Facebook.
Yeah, TikTok, Facebook. You get your entertainment. God forbid somebody sit down and watch an hour movie.
Or read a book.
I need to watch 30 TikTok videos and see 20 different things in the same amount of time. The other thing is that people, as part of the human condition, and this again is common sense. What's more fun to talk about? Happiness,
Kardashians,
or drama? Drama is just one of those things. Oh, well, my kids are really a jerk, and my next door neighbor is a jerk, and my husband is a jerk, and my wife is a jerk, and those conversations can go on forever. Like sports, the Green Bay Packers suck. No, the Bears suck. Oh, and it goes back and forth, and people like
Well, they're
that.
getting an adrenaline rush.
They like that controversy. Yeah, you get a little adrenaline rush from being controversial. You feel you're being controversial. When in reality is you're just being argumentative. And you're only going to be happy when you're expressing how right you are to be pissed. I'm always astounded why people like to be mad so much. And then when you talk to them, they're like, I hate this. Well, I just watched you in a conversation for 30 minutes go from normal to mad. And then you tell me you hate this and you did this completely 100% to yourself. Why? Because we thrive on that. We thrive on that feeling. I personally don't. I like controversy. Let's put it this way. The Dag Show is where I'm the boss. Okay. But in this house, she's the boss.
Look at that.
So I have this one little world, a Dag Show, and in my studio where I'm the boss. But I know damn well when I turn that camera off, it's pick up your clothes, take the garbage out. No, we're not buying that. No.
Not erase this video. I got proof. I am the boss.
And Dag, give me 1 second. Hold that thought. I sent you a text.
Okay.
Can you read that text?
I'd have.
Wait, you can't. No. Wait, no. I want you guys to keep talking. I'll be right back. You guys just keep talking. I'll be right back.
Oh.
I can hear you. Once I take my headphones off, I can still hear you.
When you brought that up just a few seconds ago about how, people, with the hate and all that. And I look at it like, do they want to belong to some kind of group, whether, they're followers and all these rioters, looters, criminals, whoever, all these, it's tearing up our streets and, do they want to, they just want to be heard. I'm not saying I condone it or that it's okay.
You're asking a question.
Right. I'm asking you, like, do they look at it like they just want to fit in with some kind of group and they're not looking at the facts, what you and Ron were kind of talking about.
I think that's a really good and a valuable point, because if a bunch of guys go out and they're all complaining about their wife, you're not going to be the guy who goes, oh, my wife is fantastic, great. Because now you're the outcast.
Like
there.
Ron said, you don't want to be the one that stands out, the only
Right.
guy. So you want to be a follower and go with the clique is what I'm saying,
We all want to know that we're part of something. Like I'm part of Stand For. I'm proud and honored to be part of it because there's like-minded individuals on an ideology that I support and believe in. I love the Dag Show for similar reasons. And plus it's my unit and there's really cool people who follow me. And send me really neat information and share their stories with me. I like that. I'm part of that group. I might have created the group, but it's a group now. It's now a big group of people that I'm a part of.
Okay, so it's a pair. We're Trump supporters. Okay, it's a pair, but not hate. And we don't go out and riot because of the other party. If they win, God help us. But if they win, we have to deal with it. We don't go out and start crime. I'm not going to be a mom traipsing through the neighborhood, breaking in, and what, you know what I'm saying? We don't take it to that level. We support who we support. So why are we seeing certain individuals,
like you said,
that are opposed to accepting? I mean, I call it the president. I don't care who wins. I mean, I care. Don't get me wrong, but whoever does take that seat, I'm going to honor them by saying it's my president. I'm not going to say, call him by whatever other name. Why is that? Why aren't people willing to just?
Because Guy, there's a huge correlation, okay, between a willingness to accept the facts as they are and maturity. There's a direct correlation, okay,
it all
between the inability to accept the facts as they are and immaturity. When we have these liberals educating our children, indoctrinating them, not educating, sorry, I used the wrong term, indoctrinating our children, they are completely holding them back from mental and emotional and spiritual maturity. They are robbing them. They are making them mentally bankrupt. They are DOA, okay, when they go to school, and they're DOA when they go home. This is sad because now These are the future generations that we're going to have to deal with. The people that are out here rioting right now, you guys, that's 2 decades of constant liberal indoctrination. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that the liberals have been kicking our asses, utilizing the 7 mountains of influence to control culture. That's because we're the conservatives. We have our money. We live in great communities. I guess we don't have to do anything else besides just take care of our families. That is so freaking damn wrong. That is so wrong. And you know what? You know what?
In their thinking.
Yes, we have to take responsibility. We have to take responsibility, rightly so, for what we have basically done. And I'm pissed off that we do have some conservatives. They have kicked the can down the road. They saw this problem a long time ago, and they didn't want to take care of it. Now we have to take care of it. I'm not going to kick the can down the road. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be like, look, enough is enough. I'm not going to tolerate it. I don't have to, because according to the United States Constitution, I don't have to. You're in violation of the United States Constitution. Now you need to be held accountable to the standards of law. But you know what? I mean, as Most Epic alluded to earlier, most people do not want to pay the price for truth.
Well, and I mean, I could have stopped doing my show, and many people advised me to when people started threatening me a few years ago, and found out where I lived, and this was after Trump got elected, and everybody was in safe spaces and going out at 3 a.m. and being lunatics to people that were conservative. But I stuck with it. I had my pages taken down, my shows taken down by Facebook and YouTube, and I've continued to fight the battle. And then when Facebook says there's no, we're putting restrictions on your views, we're putting restrictions on people who will get notifications, which they still do. They notify me every week. There's a warning across my page when I log into my Facebook pages that I'm basically being, I'm in timeout with Facebook. But I keep fighting the fight because it's a fight worth having. I have 5 grandchildren. I have 4 kids of my own, and I like the fact that people have opposing views of me, and I like that people are socially conscious and more socially conscious than I am on certain issues. I look at it from more of a fiscal thing, and people look at it more of an emotional thing. And I think there's a lot of places to compromise in there. And I want to hear the ideas, because, if you're not willing to listen to a lot of different ideas, and no good ideas are going to happen anyway.
And Dag, listen to the Black Box. Black Box is spot on. Black Box says it's indoctrination. Yuri, I might slaughter this name, but Yuri Bizmanov said this was coming in 1984. And then Black Box goes on to say, demoralization of a nation, destabilization of a nation, which is crisis, and then normalization. Boom, spot on. Yeah, go ahead, Dad.
You can read a lot of books and by Marxist folks like Stalin and so on, etc., and you'll find these things in here, in this similar ideologies in there as well. It is a time where, as conservatives, we need to take some responsibility of us walking away over the years and saying, well, it's going to be fine, because right now it's not fine. And maybe, we don't know for sure, there's no way to really tell, if it would have been different now had conservatives stood up more, 2 decades ago, and then early 90s, late 80s, whatever. But we are here now, and we all have a responsibility, conservatives and liberals and Democrats and, alike, to make sure that we listen to one another. Now, we can argue all day about who's not listening, and I think we know. I think there's the propaganda machine, the indoctrination machine is on full speed, and that's going to be really hard to stop now. We need to take responsibility for letting that happen, but who knows? It may have happened anyway. Anyway, we're still here right now, and we need to get out there and educate as many people as we can about the truth. We have to have, as people who do stand I kind of see myself in a small way standing on the front lines. A lot of people send me messages every week asking me questions about topics. And sometimes you would think, my God, that's the simplest common sense answer to that. Why are you even wasting your time typing it to me? But then I realized, you know what? It's not registering in their head. So maybe I need to find a better way to say it so that they understand it. And I'll take a few minutes and think about it and go, and then they'll go, oh, I get it. I get it now. You know, it could be as simple as changing a couple of words.
I tell you what we need. We need to bring back the Brady Bunch and Happy Days and the Jeffersons.
Well,
all
all right.
those good family orientated movie.
We were starting to head that way. We were starting to head that way, sister. You saw what they did to Roseanne Barr?
Yeah.
You saw what they did to Tim Allen? They shut them down. They're like, no, we are not going to give you an opportunity to stick your foot in the freaking door and to restore critical thinking skills, aka sanity, right? But you know what? So Black Box, Most Epic, Die and Dag. Will you guys agree with this? Okay. This is complete cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
This is what this is. If we wanted to summarize it, I've never thought I will witness this level of it. And the thing is, you guys, it's not covertly. This is blatantly obvious that this is what they're doing. This is their agenda. And I'm just like, how in the world do you not realize this? But I mean, of course, given you like they're indoctrinated, but come on, like really? You really don't question the narrative? That's it. That look, I believe every human being, okay? That's your presupposition. I believe innately every human being, we have a brain and you want to question things. How in the world do you get to a point where you're just like, that guy on CNN, remember Dag and Die? The building was on fire. Oh yeah, these protesters are peaceful.
Oh, on fire right behind them. And nobody really questioned it on the right. And you know, here's why, and I'll say this about our country. We are so spoiled in America that when things go bad, they kind of fix themselves. And you know, I'm 55 years old. There's a lot of questioning when I was younger I didn't do. And I see a lot of people not questioning common sense issues and values, you know, when they're right in front of them. There are a lot of things you should go, well, wait a minute. You know, I'm not going to get into a whole thing on COVID, but if you just look at the numbers and you look at the data and you watch more than just Dr. Fauci, there's no way if you have a brain that's this big, you couldn't go, wait, what? Something doesn't make sense here. That's all you got. That's where it starts. And go, but then they go, oh, this is going to take a lot of work. You know what? I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing, you know? So, you know, you said it earlier on, people don't spend the time in fact checking and doing their homework. It is time consuming. So people like you and me do it. Now, the hard part is convincing people to listen. But if you get to 1, you can get to 5. And if you can get to 5, you can get to 10. And if you can get to 10, you can get to 20 people eventually who will listen because they'll say, you know what, I like your style. You have a different style than I do. I have a different style than you and the next guy and so on, etc. And there's a little audience out there for all of us who do this. And
hey, Dag, can you posture yourself like more erect? You guys read Dag's shirt.
it's a Dag show.
I just noticed that.
Yeah. Well, this is funny. I came out with these with an F Your Feelings t-shirt way before I did the Trump shirts, before Trump even ran for office, before he announced, and I had the F Your Feelings. Maybe subliminally somewhere I saw it somewhere on the internet. And then all of a sudden one day I got my t-shirts out. They weren't Trump shirts. They were Dag Show shirts. And somebody sends me a message of a screenshot of the Trump store that says F Your Feelings all over it. I'm not trying to take credit for it, but I thought it was funny. But yeah, that's a long time saying of mine for many, many years.
You know what? I can't wait to meet up with you and Die, man. Because I know you guys are probably going to smell like cigarettes, but I think I can deal with that because my mom smokes. You know what I mean? So the thing is this. I mean, all jokes aside, though, you guys, I think you guys are 2 exceptional conservative Americans, right? And
Thank you.
I believe majority of the people in the United States, right, are I don't believe there's anyone good, okay? Because you guys know I'm devout. I don't believe there's anyone good. But the thing is, though, I believe that if most people were willing, okay, to basically examine the evidence, that they would turn conservative. If
Oh,
they were to get rid of their presuppositions
yeah, I
and
think
their
so.
bias, right?
Well, I say this all the time. Really, if you were to even take the most staunch Democrat, and I don't want to say liberal because I don't want to talk about young people who don't have a job, but working Democrat or liberal, and you sit down and you ask them a series of questions, you're going to find that a majority of their views, or at least half of them, 60%, are really going to fall under the conservative um, precept, about finances, about being able to, they don't want people coming in and kicking their doors in and taking their things. No kid in college, not one is going to go, oh, look at Joey over there's got a C and I got all A's. I'm going to give half my grades to him. When Susie worked extra hard to get all A's and Joey didn't do anything or go to class, he drank beer all night. She's not going to give her grades. That to give her grades would be a social ideology. But when she had to work for it, she's not going to give it away. She's not going to neglect her ability to get into medical school because Joey doesn't have enough. It's ridiculous. So when you sit people down and you go over the key principles of conservatism or liberalism or social ideologies, and you say, hey, listen, you got a swimming pool. Oh, yeah, I love people. I want to see welfare. You know what? All the neighbors on Tuesdays and Thursdays should be able to use your pool. They go, no way. Kids pee in the pool. Those little kids are dirty, filthy, and they blah. No, I don't want them in my, the very fact that you're willing to protect and defend the things that are yours and you want to keep them yours and you don't want other people to use them simply because they don't have a pool is a conservative value. It's a conservative ideology, not a liberal. So you can, you just, this whole idea that they go, when they put that in Seattle, when they took over that city, the most ridiculous thing that ever happened in my lifetime that was allowed to happen. But then they were, they had this little commune thing going for a week and a half until it started to go to shit when they realized we're running out of food. Wait a minute. That's my food. I bought that food. Power. And so now the liberals are starting to eat their own young, so to speak, because they're like, well, when we had a lot of food, I was willing to share it. But now I'm not giving up my food. So, again, it's a conservative ideology of kind of an every man for themselves and for their family. So you'd find that most people are really in the back of their minds, all really mostly conservative.
I agree. I completely agree, because here's the reason why I agree with that, Dag, is because when you start to practice what you actually preach, okay, those are usually conservatives, okay, because that requires integrity. And what's consistent with integrity? Okay, so here's the thing. You cannot have integrity, okay, without morale. They're inseparable. You have to have morale and integrity, okay? They're inseparable. They all go together. They coincide. You cannot separate them. That's why I'm a conservative, because I believe in morale and I believe in integrity, right? And so with liberals, what we notice, they do not practice what they preach. And you just hit the nail right on the head. They call for socialism, right? Like, let's take, for instance, okay, prime example, Bernie Sanders. Dude, you're a freaking multimillionaire. Why do you have more than one mansion? You shouldn't even have a mansion. First of all, you're a socialist. Why do you have millions? You're a socialist. How come you have money in the first place? You shouldn't have money. You shouldn't have property. You should have tons of people living in that mansion with you. I'm talking about by the hundreds. You should be giving each and every person, okay, 1 million people a freaking dollar if you're practicing what you're preaching. And so let me tell you something else, Dad, that pisses me off too. So before she became the VP selection for Joe Biden, how do you say her name? Is it Camilla or
Kamala.
What's the right way to say her name?
Other versions of it.
It's what? Kamala?
Kamala Harris, yeah.
Kamala. Okay, there we go. Let's say Kamala. Okay. And she doesn't even deserve that much respect. But anyway, I'll give her that respect because I'm a conservative, right? So anyway, she every time they debated, Joe Biden, you're a racist. You're a blatant racist. You're a blatant racist. In 2016, you know what? Dag and die. She was a Native American. Now it's the year 2020. She's black. Her ancestors owned slaves, the most slaves in Jamaica. But yet she was talking about the DNC has too many whites. We don't want anyone that has any lineage or any attachment to owning slaves. What? Can you practice what you preach? They do not practice what they preach, and this is the reason why I have a problem with Democrats. I mean, that's another reason, but they just do the hypocrisy. Can they ever have a stance that's not self-refuting without making themselves look like hypocrites? Can they take a stance that's virtuous? They can't. They can't.
They could. They don't. Is the problem.
On what? If they try to, come on, give me one. If they were to take a stance, what would be one stance that'd be virtuous?
Put me on the spot. Well,
abortion.
You know,
there's none.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head think of one. I just felt like I was in a Family Guy episode right there for a second. But yeah, you know, if they wanted to be virtuous, they would admit certain aspects of, you know, like abortion, like Di just said. Sorry, at birth or at 26 weeks, well, or at 12 weeks when it's a human, if you kill it, you're killing a human being. It's not a parasite. If they wanted to be virtuous, to be virtuous, you have to be honest with yourself. And that means you have to look at the facts. And at 12 weeks, that's a baby. Okay, well, whether you like it or not, you would, if you want to be virtuous, you would admit that. Instead, they don't. They talk around.
Life does begin at conception, in my opinion.
Bingo.
And you can have, you know, you can have your own opinion about it, but when, you know, you really look at, there's God, there's science, there's facts, there's all those things to take into accountability. That's when it begins. In my world where I've grown, it's at conception.
And Di, let me play devil's advocate on that, because just act like I'm a liberal. Whose science? You mean your science? I mean, because biology doesn't matter to me. But here's the thing, though. I'm a liberal, okay? I'm about tearing down social constructs and getting rid of these social constructs that come from, you know, you guys, they're oppressors, okay? I mean, because all this stuff is just based on white privilege. I mean, because, you know, you're white. That's the reason why you believe in this kind of stuff. Biology doesn't mean anything unless it is consistent with my narrative. Okay, there are more than two genders. There are 157, 2,000 million something genders. Okay, but yet again, I'm a liberal and I'm about deconstructing social constructs. But yet I construct more freaking social constructs just out of convenience.
You can have epiphany. Yeah. Okay. You know, you can find God after, you know, if you're not a religious kind of person and you finally find that, or, you know, you're in a relationship where you learn from the other person and kind of, you know, change your ideas about abortion, whatever, just for instance, or life in general. You know, I could see that you change it. But facts are facts, right? Well, I mean, it is what it is. You can't fight that. I guess that's what I'm picking up from you. You cannot fight that, but you can grow and kind of change your thought process.
Well, you can change anything you're willing to change. I used to be a liberal Democrat. I used to be for abortion when I was younger. I voted for Obama 2 times. I voted on both sides of the parties, you know, or on both sides of the line. Since I was old enough, my first time voting, I voted for Reagan. And I voted on both sides, and depending on whether I was voting locally, statewide, countywide, that had a big difference on my vote.
Now I'm disgusted. No hot pockets for you.
I know. But I had to make a decision, and once I got facts, is what made me a conservative and against abortion. See, I grew up with the idea and the narrative and the indoctrination that a woman's right to choose. It was just that. And it's so ingrained in your head that you forget about the fact that there's a life. Once you start to learn and get facts, your mind is going to change one way or the other. because the facts are the facts. They're the real part of the argument. Everything else is just your thoughts and your opinions.
Okay, so Dag and Die. Okay, I have to put you guys on the spot. Okay, this is going to be a hard question, and I trust you guys are going to answer it as honestly as possible. Can you be a Democrat and have morals?
Yes, I think you can. Again, you can be whatever you want to be, but when you because the issue of morality stems on a lot of different topics, and and just about on a lot of topics there might be some gray area. I can't think of one off the top of my head because you are putting me on the spot, but I don't think there's any gray area on abortion. Do I believe there's gray area in the welfare conversation or social program conversation? Yes, I do. I believe there are ways that can be better. I believe that there are places and parts of that legislation that are terrible. I believe there are parts that are good. I believe there are things that need to happen to reduce it. In like drug testing welfare recipients, and that's a very wiggly line of grayness. And you really have to sit down because you say welfare, well, it's made up of all these different issues. So you can believe in the welfare system for the right reasons. But if you don't have all the facts, it doesn't mean you don't have morals. It just means you're lacking information.
Okay, so, Dag, hold that thought right quick. So let me just read a couple of these comments. Most Epic said, evolve to different narratives. It's a contemporary and continuous process. Morality and ethics are based on human welfare. Black Box says, I think the current concept of being a Democrat is de facto lack of morals. It means to be uninformed. Wow. Go ahead, Dag.
Well, I think I get where he's going there, but I think that's a pretty broad stroke with the brush there. Because now, if morality is so important to us conservatives, I think it's very selfish for us to say that nobody else, unless you see my side of things politically, it's impossible for you to have a moral compass. And then are we really being any better than they are? No, we're not. And it's kind of like religion. If you believe, if I believe in God and somebody else believes, just has a spiritual side, doesn't believe in a God, so to speak, does that mean that person doesn't care about other people or his family or the economy, or does that mean that person isn't moral, that he no longer cares if he watches a kid get run over in the street, he just keep walking? I don't think that's a fair way to paint that, and sometimes morality based on, where you came from, how you grew up, and probably a whole plethora, if I sat down and thought about it, is based on a lot of different things, and it can be subjective. But, what's the basics of the morality? The Bible kind of lays out some of them, be good to thy neighbor, don't covet, don't cheat on your wife, those kinds of things. Those basic constructs of morality, hopefully, I think are within most people. And even if you're a Democrat, that doesn't mean you can't be a faithful, loyal husband. So that person who has some morality. Now, whether it stretches to his views on abortion, may not, who knows? Whether it stretches to his views on social issues, who knows? Maybe not. But morality, it's like the political topics of the day. You can't just look at it and go, we're going to give the U.S. Postal Service $25 billion. Well, why? What did they do with we got to ask a lot more questions to figure out whether that's a valuable thing to do, a smart thing to do. It's just not as simple as saying yes or no. Why can't we give them? Because somebody's going to ask, well, why can't we give them $25 billion? Well, here's why. 120, all those things I mentioned, the pension short, they're blowing through money. So we need to ask a lot more questions of ourselves And we should probably ask a lot more questions of our neighbors and the people we're close to who view things differently than us before we pass judgment on whether or not they're moral based on their political affiliation.
Okay. Die.
Yeah.
You be democratic and have morals.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I'm thinking like, do they see that themselves, or I just had this thought, like, or is their perception more important? And I think their perception is, because like you just said, Dag, you know, I'm watching, let's just say Pelosi, I was watching her earlier, and she's talking about her grandkids and her family and how important it is to her. And I felt connected. But at the same time, she could come out like a lot of them with hate and that's where I feel the disconnect. But so, you know, are they truly that kind of person? I don't believe that they have that kind of hate, and I do believe they have morals. They just want to be perceived that, you know, they're tough, or, you know, are they really able to get past that you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to explain it. Like, who am I to me, and how am I perceived to the world? I think they kind of they flip flop that a lot. I want to be perceived to the world, me personally, how I feel about myself too. I'm not going to change.
Can I give you an example? As a Democrat, I'm a good guy to ask this question to. One, I sat on the board years ago of
Dag, you said as a Democrat.
Well, yeah, when I was a Democrat.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
I sat on the board of a homeless charity, and I really believed in the work that we were doing. It was very important to me. I wanted to help homeless people, and it was my moral compass that was driving me to work hard at that and to give up my time and to do things. And, you know, like when I was packaging food in boxes for, you know, amongst hundreds of other people to send to Haiti after the hurricane, of rice and the basics, right? Well, it was my moral compass that drove me there. It wasn't my political views on the tollway. It was, you know, or the seatbelt law. It was what I hoped I was doing good. And that was my moral compass that drove me there. But let me give you another example. We are all guilty of this in our relationships, and I don't care what anybody says. Any man or woman who stands up and tells me I'm wrong is an absolute 100% liar, in my opinion. And let me give you this, because it's kind of
don't clean the toilets.
It's a fun example. If I wanted, or you're not married, but married men out there would understand this. You want a fishing boat, okay? You know it's not really in the budget. You're a good moral guy. You go to church, you donate, you know, you mow your lawn, you're good to your neighbors, you treat your family great, and you love your kids, all this morality built in you. And then your wife says no. But before she even says no, in your mind, you're going, okay, how can I justify this? Well, honey, here's what's going to be great. Because if I get this fishing boat, and you like fish, I'm going to go out and catch a lot of fish. And I need this cool fishing boat, because this cool fishing boat will help me catch more fish than that crappy fishing boat. So if I get this one that's 10 grand instead of one that's 6, I'll catch more fish. That's going to save us money on fish. You see where I'm going here? What we're doing is we're manipulating the argument in the situation to benefit my cause. Because when I take the 10 grand away to buy that boat, if I convince her to say yes, I didn't take it away from her. I took it away from me, her, the family, the kids, the household, took it away from everybody to satisfy one need for myself that I felt I was entitled to, or I just wanted, or was selfish about, and tried to and every man has done it, whether it's buying a motorcycle, buying a boat. As a musician, buying guitars, I've done it a million times. And when I sit back and think about it, kind of in a moral way to approach it. What would have been a better way and a more moral way to approach it is go, honey, for the next 2 months, I want to put $25 a week away to buy myself something. And this is how I would like to do it. Now, that's a moral way to approach it, because now she can go, well, you can't put 25 because look at the budget. You can put 15 away and it'll take you an extra month to get there. Then you can go buy that new guitar. Approaching it morally would be approaching it factually and honestly, upfront, and sharing in the decision making with my partner, and then working on it, trying to make it happen together. So she becomes part of the decision making instead of just me manipulating it.
Right. Okay. So Dag and Diane, let me push back on you, okay? Because you guys know I love Christian apologetics, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so
Keep
let me
going.
just read,
My water.
yeah.
Oh,
So let me read. So I love what Black Box said, right? Because this is where I'm coming from as well with Black Box. So Black Box says, but philosophy is about having a baseline, right? If we think everything is liquid, then where do we draw the line? What is good? What is bad? So basically, you guys were talking about there has to be objective morale. There has to be a standard of morale for which you base your judgment or the standard of morale upon, right? And so I'm with Black Box on this. I believe that you have to have, in order to have a moral compass, you have to have a standard. Your standard can't be arbitrary, right? I mean, because if you think about it, you have different societies, right, with taboos, right? Different cultural norms. And so, for instance, here in America, right, we know it's completely wrong to kill someone for being homosexual, right? But there's other parts, okay, across the globe where they're like, okay, the crime for you being homosexual is justifiable, that you should be killed for being homosexual, or your limb should be cut off for stealing. And so here's the part, you guys, about objective morale. It's that you have to have a standard. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm answering my own question. Can you be a Democrat and have morale? I'm gonna say no, because the reason why I say no is because I don't believe in killing babies. I do believe in the traditional standard of marriage. I believe that marriage is a religious institution, right? Not a secular institution, right? But also, too, I don't believe in playing a race card. I don't believe in psychologically manipulating people. I don't believe in keeping people systematically oppressed. I don't believe in creating false narratives and etc. I don't believe in stealing from other people and giving it to other people. I believe a person who subscribes to these kind of belief systems are completely devoid of morale because it's inconsistent. And I can't say I'm a moralistic. I can't say this, just like Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay. You guys remember Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay. I just did some more research into him last night. Right. I didn't know this dude was this deranged. Did you know that the media has hidden a lot of stuff about this guy and how deranged he was? This just like Jeffrey Dahmer coming to me and just like, look, I have morals. You look at him, you're like, what? You have morals. Which standard do you judge? That's the danger of having an arbitrary standard of morale, right? Wait, hold on, Dak, hold on. And so, but when you think about it, you guys, you guys know I love to look at everything from historical lens, okay, present, but then also in future, right? And of course, if I'm looking at it in future context, right, I have to be careful, right? Because now that's more speculative. But let's look at the fact. Let's look at the concrete facts, right? I cannot look at history and say that the Democratic Party has been moralistically, they have had huge standards of morale. When you look at the Democratic Party historically, I can't.
But you
I
asked
just can't.
Democrat.
Right.
You would
And so I'm saying no.
About the Democrat Party, I might have kind of thought different. But
I don't think you can have morals and be a Democrat. That's for me. I just don't think you can. I think it's inconsistent. So that's why I'm just pushing back on you guys. And of course, hey, we're not a monolith, right? It's okay. It's okay to have difference of opinions. And don't you yell at me, Dag.
It's an interesting position because and I've never thought of it that way, the way that you just explained it. So yeah. So what's your benchmark? I mean, if you're for abortion and you say you have morals, you'll let your neighbor live, but you'll kill your own baby. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting perspective.
It's a very touchy subject for coming from a woman. Sorry, it is. I
not all women.
Well, me personally, it's a touchy situation to to hear other people say whether it is viable, not viable, relevant, not relevant, and morally.
Well, from that
Accepted.
perspective, from D-Ron's perspective, I would agree. If he's going to use this benchmark of saying what standards do you live by, and then we develop the morality beyond that, I would agree with D-Ron posed that way. Do I think, and maybe I need to look a little more into the definition and kind of decipher that more about morality and having morals, because I guess, you know, there's a lot of people
taught and they're learned,
well,
and if you know from society and from your family and everything else, but the bottom line is you're not going to take it to the next level of hate or hurt, I guess.
Now, you guys, we're going to take this to a different level of academics, and this is what I love, right? Okay, so Sydney, she put, may I suggest that many issues like morality are expressed from your worldview or your biblical view, right? The mind has concepts that grow or die in each of these two environments. So let me approach this, okay, from apologetic side, right? When there's no standard of morale, there's no morale. It's inconsistent. It's you guys, it's called a fallacy, right? Because check this out. Who created morale? Where does it come from? If you believe in morale, there has to be a standard. If you look at it from an atheistic standpoint, you don't believe in a God. So how can you say that anyone is wrong in what they do? So as a Christian apologetics, we can say, well, God created morale. It had to be an architect. It had to be an author of morale. So therefore, that morale exists, there has to be a standard. And it's not arbitrary. Because when you deal with something that's arbitrary, you get the Democratic Party. Yep. Look at what they're doing to America, right? I can be like, I'm Black Lives Matter. I can burn down a building. I'm not a rioter. I'm a protester. That's a prime example of arbitrary morale. Yeah. There's no more standards, right? I can attack a white person because I'm a frustrated Black man, according to the Democratic Party. And so that's the danger about it, you guys. That's the danger about it. And so I do believe in a moral absolute. And that moral absolute has a standard that you have to adhere to, because when you deviate from that, no one's wrong. I'm serious. No one's wrong. When you don't have a moral absolute, no one's wrong. And that's what makes it self-refuting. But yeah, go ahead, Dad.
No, I'm a consummate learner. And I want different ideas jammed into my head, because now you essentially screwed up my whole evening, because I'm not going to stop thinking about this. I'm going to be on the damn internet looking up definitions and piece this puzzle together and go, okay, I get what D-Ron's saying, but am I right or am I really off base and D-Ron more right? This is going to happen tonight. But I like this. This is a very interesting conversation. I've never looked at it this way, because I haven't, until really more recently, looked at life from a religious angle the way that I have in the last year and a half. So I don't, I haven't always had a good reference point on it. So that's where my opinion to you might seem, well, that might be a little bit out there and I'm missing something. And you may be 100% right. Because right now I'm convinced you're right. I just hate admitting it.
I mean, well, because the thing is, when you look at, okay, let's look at civilizations all through society, right? Let's start with Mesopotamia, right? Mesopotamia, they had a code of conduct, right? And also some of their commandments or some of their laws are actually in the 10 Commandments, right?
Right.
When you actually look at Egypt, right? Some of their laws are in the 10 Commandments too. So, but what I'm saying is that if morale exists, therefore there must be an architect. There must be a person who created it. So therefore, if there has to be an agent, there's just like, I love this argument, right? By one of my favorite apologists, right? John Lennox. He said, when you take a watch, now I'm not trying to show off, you guys. Yes, this is a believer. But anyway, John Lennox, you take John Lennox. He said, a watch does not appear from somewhere. It was created. But this watch must operate a certain way within its designed parameters. That's how morale works as well. Morale didn't pop up out of nowhere, because when you think about it, each and every civilization or each and every country, each and every culture has their own standard of morale, right? But if you take away that standard, no one is right or wrong. That's a very dangerous world to live in, my friends.
Well, yeah, it can result in anarchy. So
exactly. And that's exactly what we're dealing with here in America right now.
You just came a whole circle. Nice work. That was good. You brought me right to my own to the answer you wanted to bring me to. That was see how he does that? He's good.
No. It's see, look at Black Box. Okay, so you guys, let me because see, this is what I like. You know, I love engaging with the audience, right? So let me go to the part where okay, so with Ken, right? So Ken Zook said left-wing morals are like woke culture, WOKE, right? You two are familiar with that one.
Yeah.
The goalpost changes every day. It was I alluded to the arbitrary standard of morale, right? Duran, I ain't never been on no plantation. He's talking about from my video. Okay, continuality equals conservatism. Lollipop equals liberal. One's for children, one's for sensible adults. I agree wholeheartedly with that one. Black Box. Let's also escalate the concept. Even being a Republican allows the exportation of illegal immigrants into the United States. Now, unfortunate design of the system have forced us into a binary choice. Though I would absolutely say the lesser of the evil is Republican, but I think the difference of sin is greater on the left as it is more significant. The left allows illegals in to vote because they typically vote left. The right exploits them for cheap labor. It's right. And then with Kanzu, I would like to get all the liberals to spend a day with conservatives of a different race for a day and liberals of a different race for a day and see where they get the most respect. And then Black Box said the theological argument. That's what I used as far as John Lennox. He goes, my favorite. Most epics said the Democratic Party is exactly like a clock running backwards. There goes rationality. Oh, those are interesting. Those are interesting responses. Dag and Diane, which ones do you guys want to respond to?
Boy,
you can pick one. I mean, because that's a lot of them are good.
Well, you just read off like 4 of them. Pick one. I don't in front of me, so I'm trying to memorize them here. While
can you see the side of you can't see them on the side of your screen, can you?
No, I can't see them.
Dang it! See, I was under the impression you guys could see them on the side. Here, let me see if I can.
I want to understand. That came up earlier. I want to understand the clock running backwards.
Oh, okay. So this is it's more so that okay. So William Lane Craig, okay, he's also one of my favorite Christian apologists. Actually, William Lane Craig is my favorite Christian apologist. Then it was Ravi Zacharias, then John Lennox, right? But Ravi passed away. So you guys, okay. So with the theological argument, right, is that means there must be an agent. The universe, if just say if the Big Bang theory was true, right? Well, what put the Big Bang there? It had to be an agent. Something had to put that energy there in order to cause the bang. But also, too, though, you do not get order from random chaos, right?
Right.
Chaos does not create order, right? Because if you believe that chaos creates order, you guys is fallacious. And you guys, I hate talking like a nerd. But anyway, so the thing is, when you take the watch, this is what John Lennox, he took Richard Dawkins and he destroyed Richard Dawkins. Now, you guys know that Richard Dawkins is supposed to be the self-proclaimed most intelligent intellectual on the planet. Bullcrap. John Lennox destroyed him. And they were talking about the existence of Jesus Christ, and they were talking about an agent, right? So the agent, this watch does not pop up out of the blue. It was designed by someone. Even if, okay, you guys, we go into, let's say, centuries past, someone designed this watch. and it has to operate within its parameters. So that gets rid of random selection, okay? And it supports it more intelligent design. That means that it was designed with intentionality, not random chaos, right? So it destroys Big Bang Theory. It gets rid of evolution and etc. You have to believe there's an agent. So therefore, there's an agent. Then with this agent being existent, that means you have to believe in the fine-tuning argument, right? AKA intelligent design, teleological argument, etc. Right? But the thing is, though, morale has to come from this agent, because objectively, we as people, we know the difference between right and wrong. And one of these objective truths, I don't care in where you come from in the planet, we know that rape is wrong. Objectively, we just know that. What put it in you to just know that innately, right? We know that to murder someone is just wrong. But what put that in you to know objectively it is just wrong for you to go and murder an innocent person? What put it in you? This is what atheism cannot explain. This is what liberalism cannot explain. And so this is why I love Christian apologetics, because a God offers an explanation to what is impossible for man to answer. I hope I put that one in. Lamer, you guys get me, right? Okay, gotcha.
Very, very.
Die. Go ahead, Die. What are you going to say?
Her head's almost going to explode.
Wow.
You guys, what I'm just saying is circular reasoning, right? Circular reasoning is this, okay? A lot of our society here in America, we have fallen into circular reasoning. The rapist goes, well, at least I don't rape children. The person that rapes children goes, well, at least I don't steal from people. The person that says, well, at least I don't steal from people goes, well, at least I don't steal from an elderly, and etc. You know, that's circular reasoning. It's like no one's held accountable. But when you have a moral absolute, you are held accountable. And from having a moral absolute, you have a standard of law, right? You have liberty, you have freedom, you have a true definition. But when you remove that moral absolute, you get the America of today, where people feel like they can do whatever they want to do. The Democratic Party, they are the epitome of what I'm talking about. The conservative is the antithesis of liberalism, because we believe in law and order. We believe in justice. We believe in freedom. We believe in a standard of law, right? We believe in human decency. We believe in critical thought. We believe in rationale. We believe in being logically consistent all in every area, right? Because remember, the truth is always the truth. You can minimize the truth. You can stretch it. That's how you know it's the truth. Hey, Dag, you are brighter than me. That's a fact. And if I try to argue with you about that, you'll be like, dude, you're freaking insane. If I'm like, Dag, you're darker than me, people will be like, you're freaking insane. But now, though, Dag, our culture right now, Dag, you're darker than me. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to have you arrested for a hate crime. Now say that,
right.
Now say that you're darker than me.
I'm darker than you.
That's the standard of arbitrary morale, and that's why we have to have an absolute standard of morale.
Yeah, that's interesting, and you've given it, always fun to talk to you, because you always give me a lot to think about.
I call Dag darkness too, you guys. I call Dag darkness from time to time.
Right.
But yeah, go ahead.
It was very funny. We were laughing. She's like, he called you the darkness. No, this was a great conversation. I hate to cut you short because we got.
No, I know you guys got to go to the birthday party. Yep. So I just wanted to get you guys on briefly. It's been a while since we have engaged.
We have, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to make it out here October 4th to this event. 30 days.
I should be able to.
Because you can move mountains. Because I felt it.
I'm telling you, she heated up over here.
I'm serious. Like I don't know. I know a little about a lot, and I find myself being religious at times and different things at times. But you really compelled me to want to listen to you and focus in on what you were saying and not just hearing you. And I think, being a part of things, you're doing great. I really, I can judge. Well, I shouldn't say judge, but I can read people fairly quickly, and decipher whether they're good or bad. And there's that deviation line right now. I'm kidding. No, but I think if you come out, you're an amazing speaker.
Well,
and I think a lot of people are going to change their minds the more they listen to you.
well,
I
Duran,
appreciate that, darkness number 2. Yeah.
you're making great strides in the things you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job at it for Stand For. And you know, we're happy to be a part of it. And I'm really glad you include me in conversations on your show. And I
ran right over when he was like, bring out Di. I was like, okay.
But I think you'd have a lot to offer, and people would like to see it, this event. It's going to be quite amazing. So
absolutely.
30 days to save America.
God needs back into people's lives more, man.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Well, that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
I don't hide my agenda. You all know.
Oh.
See, look. Here's the thing, though. You guys did not know what I just did to you, right? You guys are fully unaware that I just covertly planted the seeds of Christianity in you.
You screwed up my whole night, and I told you it doesn't know it. But those seeds, there was no dirt to plant them in until Duran and I met, and you know, I appreciate that for you. It's changing things.
My heart feels bigger and more open now. Thank you.
Absolutely,
really.
I love you both. You guys go ahead and head on to your party.
Love you too. Thanks for having us on. Peace. Be good to one another, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right.
Everyone else, stay on. Everyone else, stay on. Stay on. So I must tell you guys, okay? I love them too. Dag and Diane, they are my brother and sister from a different mother, but Dag is slowly coming back to Christ, right? And you guys, I love preaching. I do. And this is all glory to Christ. And you guys know that, or say Yeshua, because it's more intimate to say Yeshua, okay? And you guys, what you just saw is a different method of preaching. And sometimes you have to covertly plant the seeds of truth, is Jesus Christ. When you stick to truth and you talk about a standard, a moral absolute, that's Christ. A lot of people don't know that. But the thing is, you guys, it's a way to plant the seed, okay? And then you can water it, okay, at the same time. It's so amazing. That's why I love Christian apologetics. But that wasn't my initial intention. My intention was just to bring them on, and then you guys to demonstrate the narrative, okay, is this. Now, not too long ago, the most effective way to destroy people is to deny and destroy their understanding of their own history. Oh, think of many. Wow. That's freaking amazing. Where did that come from? I agree with you 100%. I was actually thinking about doing a call in, but I can't remember my Google Plus number, because I would definitely love to talk to Black Box. Black Box, the next time I go live, Black Box and Most Epic, I would definitely love to have you two on my next podcast, because I love how philosophically interesting and just you guys are titillating, like, honestly. And I really do not give people, okay, that kind of recognition, but you two have been profoundly just amazing. And I just want to say thank you to each and every person that has contributed to this discussion, because I mean, of course, you play an intricate role in this. It's important, okay? And I'm not negating anything else, okay, from the other contributors. It's just what Black Box and Most Epic have said just resonates with me more, because I can tell that they have dabbled in apologetics a lot more. So you guys, if you're on my Facebook, make sure you send me a inbox if you can. Also, too, if you guys are watching this, make sure that you share this, because you guys listen. I'm 100% transparent. My agenda is to destroy the Democratic Party. I have the right to, because I believe they are the longest living domestic terrorist organization in America. Because when you look at its fruits, it's sour. This is the same party that created KKK, they created Black Lives Matter, they created Antifa. Okay? I mean, it's their fruits. It's irrefutable. Every inner city in the United States is controlled by a Democrat. And you guys, the reason why I decided to go live with Dag and Diane, okay, is because I wanted you to see that these are my light-skinned brothers and sisters, but yet we are on the same note. And this completely shatters the narrative of the left that black and white can't share a mind. We can't have the same similar mind setting. Because you guys, I was on a show earlier where one of the co-hosts, he didn't identify as a conservative or liberal, but the guy did not know his facts. When you do not know your facts, either you're liberal, conservative, or whatever, and you do not know your facts, the last thing you should be doing is trying to debate someone. For more info on the Democrats and their history, check out the movie documentary Uncle Tom. Oh, yeah. And you know what, Kenzo, when I was with Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum, you guys, you know what, I want to tell you guys a little bit about Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens. They both are truly unique, right? Similar, but then also just so opposite of each other, right? Candace, she is one of the greatest speakers I have ever heard speak. Like, honestly, to spend those days with Candace Owens and to hear her talk, you guys, this woman is a force to be reckoned with. And I'm telling you, if you're going to ever come across Candace Owens and you think you might want to debate Candace Owens, you might want to think again, because this woman has no qualms about completely eviscerating you. And that's what I love about Candace. This woman is bold. She's strong. She's a lion. And I love that she's a Christian. Brandon Tatum is a Christian. And you guys, one of the things that was so awesome when I was in DC meeting with the rest of the state chapters for Blexit, everyone was Christian. And everything we talked about was Christian. And how can we restore our country? How can we get rid of the racial animus? How can we destroy Black Lives Matter? And how can we lift the conservative in America at the same time destroying the Democratic Party and destroying their culture? That's what I'm after. That's my agenda. That's why I have joined Blexit. That's why I have decided to work with Chris and be the co-founder of Stand For, you guys. I want to destroy the Democratic Party because they gave birth to Antifa. They gave birth to Black Lives Matter. They went through predominantly Black neighborhoods and burned down Black neighborhoods. They are never logically consistent. Their rhetoric is never consistent with their actions. And you guys, these are the biggest hypocrites on the planet, and yet they choose to virtue signal to us. And I'm telling you, I'm not okay with being virtue signaled by a massive hypocrite. But anyway, Brandon Tatum, you guys, this dude is so freaking down to earth that I talked to him 3 times for about like 4 to 5 hours each and every time. So you guys, make sure when you get a chance, if you can, you reach out if you can to Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, because let me just tell you guys something. These two are so amazing individuals. Pierre Wilson, he's also the national director of Blexit. This guy's so phenomenal. All the state directors that I met there, they're so freaking phenomenal. You guys, Washington, D.C. was mind blowing because it was my first time there. Even going to the Washington Monument, the Vietnam War Memorial, World War II Memorial, the Korean War Memorial. You guys, I was just blown away. I'm just like, my American history, it's so emotional. But you guys, I'm so appreciative that I actually had the chance to experience that. And that's why I say I have Black privilege, because if white privilege is this, Black privilege is this. I was able to go to DC because I'm an overly privileged American, and I was able to experience history. And I loved each and every part of it. And you guys, I was ambivalent. It caused a lot of emotions, but then I got slightly apoplectic just thinking about that we have Black Lives Matter and these people who are out of touch with history. They think America is actually worse than it was, you know, in the 1930s and etc. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, these people are so moronic. There's so much information that's so accessible. It's readily available for you to actually get rid of your notions and jump into facts. And these people are completely ignorant by choice. And I'm just dumbfounded by that, because I'm just like, what is going on? How are you so easily manipulated? And we have the freaking internet today. This is the information age. I'm saddened by the willingness to be stupid, the willingness to be a victim. I'm oppressed. I'm oppressed because I just want to stay on freaking welfare. It pisses me off. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. Then you got the pastors, these fake pastors, to add to the mix. Politicians to add to the mix. It drives me crazy. Because, you guys, I don't want to be right. Forget having my own opinion. There's enough truth out there that I don't have to form my own opinion. I just have to align myself with truth. Then that way I know I have a good stance, right? It's called a credible stance. It's called having merit. You know, most epic in Black Box in Sydney is that one of the things I find most disheartening to me, and it really does it really saddens me, is that when I see people who do not realize that they are responsible for their own mental enslavement, and that they are the only ones who are responsible for freeing themselves from their mental enslavement. It saddens me. Grandiose ideas of social justice being injected into Christianity. You know what, Black Box? Black Box, I talk about that too, is that we got to get rid of this postmodernism. There's no such thing as Christian postmodernism, but they're trying to. Christianity doesn't change. The standard doesn't change, but we got people who call themselves to be a part of the church. They believe that the standards of God changes, when he's actually the moral absolute, as I alluded to earlier, as Black Box alluded to earlier, and most epic as we alluded to earlier. Let me see. They're hard. I missed this. I missed these comments. I kind of like Kanzuk too. Their heart and their brains are connected. Something you don't see from many liberals today. Black Box, laugh out loud. I was watching Candace when she first appeared on YouTube, back when she had a tiny amount of viewers. Yeah. Does the Bible mention gender 252 times? Yeah. They refer to, God as he, Father, Son. It lets me know, there's two genders, Kanzuk, that's something that I'm just going to have to say a yes to, because God is referred to as he just so many freaking times. But hey, in this Christian postmodernism world, you guys, they're trying to actually take those kind of direct references to the gender. They're trying to take it out of the Bible. These so-called sold out Christians. You guys, let me be a little bit more candid with you. I just want to be a little bit more frank, okay? Let me preface with this. This is not to insult people, but here's the thing, you guys. We have insane people who are teaching other people to be insane. Oh, I know a lot of people that's going to piss a lot of people off. But hey, that's where I'm leaving it. I believe we have insane people who are teaching other people to be insane in our country. And it's time for it to come to an end. So, you guys, thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm pretty sure on behalf of Dag and Diane, this would be their sentiments. They enjoyed your company, and they enjoyed your contribution to this. I know for one, I definitely have. So you guys, I know there's no scheduled time right now because we were going to have an event for Stand For, once a week. We're going to get back to that schedule of it being every Thursday at 7 Central Standard Time. But you guys, I have to be in Cali again. I have to be in Cali this upcoming Thursday, so we might not, or I don't know. I'll keep you guys up to date to let you know if we're gonna have an event or not. But most likely, I'm gonna say 90% that we're not gonna have an event coming this Thursday. But Dag did say we're gonna have an event in Chicago. You guys, I'm gonna try to make that. I forgot the exact date. So much just going through my mind, you guys. But yes, Black Box and Most Epic, if you two are on my Facebook, and even if you're not on my Facebook, please send me a direct text, please, through my Facebook. I would love to have you both, if you're willing to oblige and accept the invitation. I would love to have you both on my next podcast or whatever live stream, whatever you want to call it. I will be honored if you two could definitely bless us with your presence. So we'll talk about the rest of the details, you guys. Let me sign off. Yeshua bless you all, and go in peace. But you guys, be bold, okay? Stand up for your conservative views. Do not be intimidated. Do not be rendered subservient and acquiesce, okay? Take it easy. God bless you. Bye-bye.